What is up, Booktube? It's Monty, and today I am back, and we're doing a tag video. It's been a couple of months since I've done a tag video, and seeing as I was actually tagged in this one twice I was tagged, I should probably do it, I should probably get around doing it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're doing the Booktube Real Talk tag, but also I just want to say, I don't know who started this tag. I know that people usually start off their video saying they're gonna link it down below. I just wanted to say that I don't understand the title of this tag because I don't feel like this prompts any kind of frank discussion, so there's also that. First question. Okay, yeah, we need the other can. First question is, what is something that nobody told you before you started your YouTube channel? And I have to admit, there wasn't really a whole lot that people didn't warn me about. When I made this channel in like 2015, it was sort of like what I consider to be the heyday of early Booktube. Still not enough to enjoyable. We're gonna make do. So like, it was still the early days. People were obviously successful by 2015, 2014. This is like, Readables was big, Priscilla, like, these were like the time. And so I don't really know if I really sat down and thought through any of these things. But I just feel that, like, it was a different game, like, it was a different situation. And so while I think that production values are obviously important now, I don't think they were my biggest thought in 2014. So like, I feel like that was a thing. But everything else, I feel like I've known. I knew that editing would be a pain in the ass, which is why I didn't do it for years. And so, like, I don't know, like, I feel like there wasn't that I feel like no one told me that, like, Twitter would be like a big part of the Booktube experience, but I don't even know if Book Twitter was that poppin' when I first sat down to make these videos. So I don't really think that there was like a thing that someone was like hiding from me. Next, what is your opinion on typical Booktube videos? I think this is where you're supposed to like spill the tea and like come for these hoes, but the real tea is there is no Booktube without a wrap-up. There's no Booktube without a haul video. There's no Booktube without a TBR. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no Booktube without I would say without a review, because that's my bread and butter. That's what I do here on this channel. But I think that those Hallmark staple videos are successful both in the short term and long term. Some of my, well, I only do book reviews on this channel, but some of like the staying power of some of my reviews is like more than any haul I've ever uploaded. So I feel like those are the sort of videos, those are the content that like a new person can come to and see what kind of books a person is like interested in, like what sort of like makes up their reader DNA or whatever we're calling it now. I can't imagine a Booktube without those videos. And so while I take it back. This is, I guess, where we're spilling the tea. I hate reading vlogs. I hate watching them. I will never make one. Sometimes I get it for the aesthetic. Like, sometimes, like, there are revelations in a reading vlog where I'm like, you know what? I'm happy to have watched this. But a lot of the time, like, I just don't get the entertainment in the aesthetic music and watching someone flip through a book. Like, that's not entertaining to me. Like, that's not And I guess people watch YouTube videos like when they're studying. Personally, I don't do, like, I can't, like, if I'm focusing on something, then I'm not watching anything. So I'm just not the audience for it. And so, and so, like, and those aesthetic moments are like the least important part of the vlog to me. Like, I tend, like, if I'm watching someone's YouTube video, I try to watch from beginning to end. I like to get the full experience. But, like, in a vlog, like, I'm usually gonna skip past all the aesthetic bits and get to the part where someone is talking, because I want to hear about their day if they're talking about that. But I also want to hear about the fucking book. Like, I want to hear your thoughts on the book. And, like, in my mind, the reading vlog is meant to be that. Like, you're updating us in real time. I don't know, though. So I think that's where the realty is, and I don't like those videos. But, like, I appreciate that people are out here trying to diversify what it means to have booktube content and to grow the community. I'm not going to be like, you should all stop making them. Like, make whatever content makes you happy, first off. But I'm not going to sit here and drag a TBR video, a haul video. Like, is it the most intellectually stimulating content? No, but Booktube is already a very, like, you have to consume all of this content. You know what I mean? Like, reading a book is not that easy. Like, this is hours, days, weeks, months, years sometimes. It took me years to read a book. Like, Gone with the Wind took me months. A Little Life took me the better part of a year. So, like, when you're reading a book, like, it consumes such a large part of your existence that I'm not out here, like, mad that people aren't making creative type videos. I do think that if someone is making a creative video that you really gel with, then you should support the fuck out of that. But I think that like, in the scheme of, like, YouTube, you know, Booktube content is different than a lot of other YouTube content in the sense that it takes effort to just read the book, to then have this expectation that you have to, you know, process your thoughts or share your thoughts on the content in some kind of unique or out there way. That's a lot of pressure, I think, to put on someone who just sat there, and this is like a hobby. You know, reading is a hobby for most people. And so, I don't know. I'm not making any sense. Hopefully editing Monty will make that make sense. I'll move on to the next question, which is, what is an assumption you had about Booktube before you joined? I didn't really have an assumption about Booktube. Maybe I assumed that there weren't as many Black readers in the community. But again, this was like a 2014 time. I wasn't watching anybody with under, like, 10,000 subscribers. Like, I was very much just at, you know, the top level. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, that might have been an assumption, but I didn't really, I don't know. I also might have thought that people weren't as welcoming as they are, but again, I was not, in that time, in the sort of smaller space where, like, obviously people are going to talk to you. I don't know. Like, when I joined Booktube, it was so long ago that it doesn't, like, I don't think that any of these, it doesn't apply. And I have a bad memory, so, like, why would you expect me to remember that? It's not gonna happen. Next question is, what is something you've done that's helped grow your audience? This is the real tea. I don't really want to grow my audience. I like having, the fact that I have over 100 subscribers at this moment still blows my fucking mind, because, like I said, I've been doing this on and off since 2015-ish. So for that entire time, I had, like, maybe 30 subscribers. That entire time, you know, I was not making money on the platform. I wasn't posting regularly. But I have found that joining Book Twitter has sort of, that's when it sort of coincided Like when I came back to Booktube, and for January I was posting really regularly. So posting regularly will definitely help you. But also being in like on Twitter, that's really exploded my there's an exposure level there. There's real-time interaction. Like, I'm not out here trying to make friends with people because I'm just that awkward introvert. So like, and I can't carry a conversation. I am the worst person to start a conversation with. So again, like, I'm not out here forging friendships. I'm not out here sliding the DMs. I'm not out here marketing myself. I'm not out here promoting myself. I literally read a book, I post a review, and I move on with my life. The fact that like people follow the channel, the fact that people enjoy the channel is something that I appreciate. I'm forever grateful. It's like incredibly humbling to know that I can ramble incoherently for 20 minutes and people will on average watch the first 5 minutes and appreciate the first 5 minutes. It's all very strange to me, but that's definitely helped. I guess in light of the fact that my review of Again But Better is currently one of my most viewed videos, reading popular books is always going to help your channel. I don't think that it's going to be, you know, some sort of saving grace, because I've read Children of Blood and Bone last year. I have a video on that. It has like 20 views. I have a review of like Carry On and The Raven Boy. So those have like 10 views. So like reading popular books is not going to like explode your channel overnight. And I don't think that you should read books that you have absolutely no interest in. But if you see a hyped book and you're interested in it, I do think that helps if you are the kind of person that wants to slide into DMs, that wants to have a connection with other readers. Because if you're reading obscure text that no one has ever fucking heard of, good for you. Like I said, read what you like, create the content that you want to see. But there's only... I don't know. I feel like if you're reading popular books that you're at least interested in, then there's that space for you to bond with somebody else. But just being on Twitter, I think has really grown my channel. And yeah, so that was a really long answer for a really short... I don't know where I was going with that. Now, this is a question I can't really answer because, again, I don't get in on, like, the base floor, the bottom thing, but it's like, what's a common mistake that you see new booktubers make? Again, like, I'm, like, the last person that should be out here lecturing any new booktuber on what they should be doing or what they're doing wrong, because I think that there isn't one standard formula that's going to get you or any booktuber to where they want to go, like where they're trying to be, like what their end game goal is. It's going to be a different journey and different path for everybody. I think that if you are a new booktuber who is trying to grow, I think that it is strange and odd for you not to be trying to make connections with other people. Again, like, that's not really my goal. That's not what I'm here to do. I am very happy and very thankful for the pleasant conversations that I have on Twitter, for the pleasant platonic interactions that I have with people. Like, I'm not trying to be a rude bitch when I say I'm not here to make friends. Like, it's really not what I'm trying to do, but it's just like, that's a different video for a different day. But if that is one of your goals, I think that you should be out there putting yourself forward. I don't know if all new booktubers do that. I also think that a mistake I see is just, like, hesitating. Again, like, my production values are not the best. I have used a really crappy tablet camera. I have used iPhones. And now I'm using a webcam. Like, bitch, use whatever you have to use, but make the video. You know, you can't grow if you don't take that first step. So I think that, you know, the booktube space, as long as I can understand you, as long as I can hear you clearly, I don't personally care. So I think that's the mistake I usually see, and that's usually not even on booktube. It's like on the hashtag booktube on Twitter, where like every day there's like 3 people who are like, I want to make a booktube channel, but I don't know. And it's like, you know, you can't know if it's a mistake for you or not until you at least try. So just try. Talk about a book you read. make a reading wrap up for a month, like do whatever content you want to make. But I think that's the biggest mistake, is that I don't see people putting themselves out there. What are your thoughts on working with publishers and or sponsorships? I don't work with publishers. It's not like, oh, I'm above it. It's just like I have 169 subscribers. No publisher is trying to send me a book. So that's fine. Like, I'm not pressed about it. Like, I mean, NetGalley, I get stuff on NetGalley, but like, I don't think that's the theme of the question. I think that's more of like a publisher is sponsoring a book and you have to like include it in content that you create. And I don't see anything wrong with that. As long as the booktuber is being, you know, transparent, like, yo, the publisher sent me this is like sponsored video. I think in the early days of booktube, I don't know how old this tag is, but this seems like more of a question for them. But again, like, even now, booktubers and like booktube be like freaking out, acting like you can't be honest if you got sent something for free, but they be watching all these ARC reviews. Like, anyway, if you got a paycheck, your integrity just got flung out the window. And this is the real tea. If you think that someone is... Let's take a step back, first of all. I think there are channels on YouTube like Francina Simone, who approaches every book that she discusses in a review from an objective standpoint based solely on the writing. She doesn't take into account any objective factors, which I think is really admirable. So, like, obviously there are people on this platform who do review things from an objective standpoint. Personally, for me, I tend to view a review as something that is inherently subjective, because I don't look at things objectively, right? Like, I bring what I bring to this book, and you bring what you bring to this book, and we read the book, and we can walk away with two completely different things, which is why I think people like Francina Simone are important to have in the community. You know, they keep us in check when people be out here wilding in the streets. But I think that the vast majority of you know, BookTube is out here reviewing things objectively. So if you think that like 90% of the reviews that you're watching are like based on some kind of objective truth, objective standard, I think that's a little misconceived. But also, I think that it's very, like, I'm a pessimistic bitch, right? Like, I am out here hating a lot of things. I'm out here giving so-so reviews to a lot of things. But I would never think that some random person that I do not know is going to feed me lies because they got a check from a publisher. Now, I don't think that most booktubers who get sponsored content, you know, are getting a check. I think that they got a free book that they were asked to promote because it was sent to them, which is fine, you know, because it's a book, guys. It's not like these people are out here pushing some kind of health supplement. It's a book, okay? If they're featuring a book in a TBR video, in a hauled video, in a anticipated releases video that the publisher sent them, I don't think that that's like some kind of inherently dishonest thing for me to like be out here dragging some person I do not know. I think that I just don't have the energy to be out here trying to drag people. I don't have the energy, I just don't care enough to be out here dragging people I do not know because they got sent something from a publisher. So I think if a booktuber is in a position to work with the publisher, to get that check, to get that coin, to get that free book, good for them. And the last question is, do I think that booktube is dying? I don't think that it is, for a multitude of reasons. Partially because I'm currently really invested in the small booktube community, where the bulk of the channels I am subscribed to have less than 10,000 subscribers, nowhere near the top end of the booktube community. But I also just see that, like, reading is always going to be a thing that exists. People are always going to want to share their thoughts on these books. And I think that Jesse from Bowties and Books, when they did the Booktube Recognition Awards, and you had all of these content creators get recognized in all of these different categories, like that was when I was easing my way back into Booktube, so I didn't really know any of these people. Like, that's part of how I found channels to subscribe to. But I think that people like Jesse and things like that show that this isn't a dying community, that there are still lots of people. And I think that it's also really important to know that I think that a lot of people who watch tag videos like these, at least from my channel, are very entrenched, I almost spilled this, in the young adult booktube sphere of the community. But there is just like an expansive group of people out here talking about books. This is not just a YA space. There are hundreds of people. I don't know if hundreds, but there's a large community of people who only talk about adult fiction in specific pockets within that. So I think that to say the booktube is dying is incorrect, and I don't really agree with it. I don't think anybody that has done this tag video agrees with that, because it's changing. It's definitely changing, and it might not be the same booktube that we had in the early days, but I don't know if that's really a bad thing. I think that it's really nice to see that as the community has aged, we're changing. There have been a lot of growing pains. We don't always want to acknowledge the diversity issues, but that's fine. Like, it is what it is. And I think that YouTube, Booktube in particular, is a space where you can really cultivate the people that you want to be with, and you can, whatever your experience on Booktube is partially how you tailor it to be. So if you're not having a great experience on Booktube, then there are things that you can do to change that. If you think Booktube is dying, then there are a lot of other channels you can subscribe to. Channels that update on a more regular basis. People who are more active on Twitter, so even if they haven't uploaded in like 2-3 weeks, you know what is going on with them. Like, to say that it's dying, I think, is more of your area of Booktube is somehow like, it's just not, you gotta do something else, you know? So those are all of the questions, and that has been some real talk. So thank you to the Princess from Castle Library, and thank you to Lauren from the Novel Lush, because I believe both of these people have tagged me. I will leave links to their channels in the description, because if for some reason you're on my channel and you haven't looked at their videos, what? So that's where I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna finish this lovely drink. Don't have any review videos in the works. I have some older ones. I have like a discussion on Dragon Pearl I never uploaded. So I know that's the Dragons and Tea Book Club book for Asian Pacific Heritage Month. So if you want me to upload that, feel free to comment that down below. Otherwise, I'll see you again when I see you. I do need to film a discussion on China Rich Girlfriend, so feel free to yell at me about that on Twitter. But until then, I'll see you whenever I see you. I don't know when that's going to be yet, but I'll see you then. And until then, bye.